watched it.
The Biter Baby. Why does Monty hate Bonnie? And what does David Afton's favorite show
So,
have to do with
I wonder, guys.
all these questions and more?
What
I'm attempting to answer.
So, what you guys have to say about this video?
Hello,
It's Game Theory.
Welcome to Game Theory, the show that keeps on giving like the hidden details in a FNAF game.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're less.
Everyone, shout out and like and subscribe.
Franchise that either don't
He's
go
the
well,
best
don't connect to any of the big questions
person.
we're asking. And sometimes the pieces don't even get discovered until way after the game releases. Like the Springlock design with possibly Henry's signature, as pointed out by ID's Fantasy. Or there's an update added to the game way after its release that changes small details, like this random silhouette in the window that I saw Right Host talking about. The trouble is, when they are just small pieces, it can be hard to justify talking about them because they're just that small.
So guys, what's your theory? My theory is that the animatronics Springlocks that when the kid was trying, the Springlocks got crushed and his head got chopped off. But what do you think, guys? Comment down below. And remember, like and subscribe.
That one thing is interesting for sure, but does it actually change anything? However, as I've been going back through our FNAF archives and weighing up all of these small pieces that have been brought to light, either through more research on my end or from other talented theorists in the space, I found a few interesting details that are worth talking about. So today, I want to present 3 mini theories that, if true, would change or expand on previous theories we've explored in the past. Think of them like theory DLC.
Guys, what do you think is gonna happen? Comment below. And like and subscribe. If you don't like and subscribe, the boogeyman's coming for you. So you better help us out by liking and subscribing.
See, don't worry, I'll be sure to explain each of the previous theories as we go, but let's start with one that's actually been on my mind for a few years. Theory number 1, Henry stole Edwin's designs. In my final theory, I spoke on lot about whether Henry and Afton stole designs from Edwin Murray. I basically settled on the idea that the answer was kinda yes, although there was a chance that Henry did actually collaborate on some things with Edwin, and he definitely was designing some stuff himself, as he was the one changing the designs from Edwin.
I got the change order from Hen last night.
But after that video in our live talkback, ID brought to my attention that
guys, more likes and we will do a gaming video. So make sure to like and subscribe his videos. Shout out to the Game Theory. Shout out to him. Shout out. Anyways, back to the video.
Their video and the blueprint that, unlike all the others we see in Murray's Costume Manor, didn't have the...
Hello? This is me. I'm in my real life form. I'm here to tell you to subscribe, and we're making a video next update. We're making a video on Tuesday about Taco Tuesday. Sammy is gonna be having so much fun. See ya.
MCM logo on it, but instead a signature that looks like it could be Henry's, adding credence to the fact that Henry was making stuff. She also has a really cool explanation for Henry's Prisons of My Making line, while also keeping the FNAF 1 animatronics as Edwin's designs like we see in the basement. Basically suggesting that Henry saw those designs, upgraded them to make the Endo O2s, and then put them in the shells that Edwin had been making for the classic animatronics, which is why in Into the Pits, which takes place in 1985, we see classic Freddy and the gang, but with Endo O2s inside them. It's a very cool video, and I highly recommend you watch it, but proving that Henry was definitely designing stuff, got me thinking about what else we've attributed to him in the past. You see, over the years, we've focused a lot on Henry's design
Yep.
philosophy when it comes to animatronics. ID's theory would align with previous theories we've had about the Withers definitely being early Henry designs, where we focused on aspects like the jaws to make that connection. The Withered animatronics have two types of jaws, a classic hinge and a separated mouth and head connected by piston-like bars. Now, the reason we felt like this could be attributed to Henry was because of the other times this design comes up in the franchise, namely FNAF 6. In that game, we're introduced to Lefty, a Freddy-like character designed specifically to capture the puppet. Henry tells us in the tapes that
You have all been called here.
and so, with Lefty having the puppet inside now being dragged back against its will, it stands to reason that Lefty was made by Henry. And wouldn't you know it, it too has the same piston-like jaw mechanism. We then see this repeated in other animatronics that connect to Lefty, the Rockstar animatronics, and we see it with the rudimentary mediocre melodies. Now, for the longest time, even though you buy the mediocre melodies from a third party in the game, we theorized that these were actually shell companies for Henry to make his scheme happen.
Yep, guys.
Thanks to stories like
Yeah.
Puppet Carver that also include rudimentary animatronics for a banjo-playing pig and a frog, we felt like we were being shown that Henry was the creator of the mediocres and that they were some of his first, hence the battery packs they needed to operate. However, this is where Secret of the Mimic comes in and completely upends the idea, like it did with so many other theories. Because in this game, we see original designs for these characters, like a frog, a pig, an elephant, and a hippo. So again, the initial characters feel like they were Edwins. But the big issue is this message right here. Quote, me and Stan are out of here. It's time to jump ship before things get ugly. I have a bunch of Fiona's character patterns and Stan is taking what he can. Join us. With everything we know about the restaurant projects, we can start our own machine shop. So again, doubling down on the fact that these designs were originally part of Murray's. But the real important part is the name that's mentioned, Stan. That might not mean anything to you. It's a pretty generic name, to be honest, but it has shown up in this franchise once before, in FNAF 6. The company you buy the mediocre melodies from is called Stan's Budget Tech. This guy and his friend left MCM, stole Fiona's designs, and then started a robot shop, which we then buy from in FNAF 6. That's why in the character encyclopedia, Ned Bear's entry questions whether he was altered from Freddy Fazbear, quote, to avoid copyright issues. It was originally a Freddy that Stan stole from the company and made his own, only to sell it back to Fazbear years later. The most frustrating part about this isn't the fact that Henry didn't make the mediocre melodies. I've made my peace with that. It's that we used to be able to use these animatronic designs to distinguish who made them. And now it feels like this is just how people make animatronics, and they can be anyone's. Are the Rockstars actually Henry's, or is that another real company where he then took an old Rockstar Freddy and turned him into Lefty? He just went back to square one with knowing who made what exactly. Well, kinda. See, there is one more animatronic that uses this design that I've not mentioned.
Yep.
One that we've also attributed to Henry in the past. And one that came before all of these other designs. Fredbear. In the FNAF 4 minigames, we see multiple versions of Fredbear at the diner location. Some being worn by staff, others are in animatronic mode. However, if we take a look at the iconic one that ends up crunching down on...
See, guys? What did he expect? Why would he put his brother in the machine? What did he expect? Exactly.
One David Afton, what do you notice? That same piston-like jaw design. But every Golden Freddy or Fredbear we've seen in this franchise up until this point hasn't had that design detail. They all have designs more similar to Freddy or Withered Freddy, hinged or attached jaws, not pistons. But do you know where we do see a piston-based jaw design for Fredbear? Down
No.
in the basement of MCM. This version of Fredbear has a prototype label on the back of its head, implying that this is one of the designs we read about from Edwin. Quote, Fiona, the new spring locks are working well, even with the water damage. They should be ready for the diner soon. These are the new designs Edwin makes to avoid the classic water damage prone designs that he and Henry had previously made. Which is great if you want to avoid a lawsuit, and given the state of Edwin's bank account, I think that'll be music to his ears. It's a shame, really. If he had just partnered up with Chime like we have, he could have used MyPay to access up to $500 of his pay before payday to help handle some of these expenses. In case what I've just said didn't give it away, Chime is the most loved banking at helping people to bank smarter. And my future is
Or a
no
sword.
different. As I'm sure you're aware, the holidays are coming up. It feels like they've come around sooner and sooner.
Who's ready for Christmas, guys? Who's ready?
Every year, but all of that
Comment down, by the way.
presents and the Christmas
Comment your
cheer,
username.
yeah, it costs money, and things are more expensive than ever. So Chime had the idea to help us all out by giving us access to our pay a little bit early, to help stretch out those gift budgets a little bit further. Or maybe you have budgeted all of your gifts really smartly, but then your heating system packs in, or your oven breaks. How are you going to enjoy that spatchcock Christmas turkey now? Wait, do you guys even eat turkey for Christmas? Or is that
No.
just Thanksgiving? Give me a second. Christmas ham? Yeah, that's probably good enough. The point is, unexpected expenses happen, and if life doesn't wait for payday, neither should you. Plus, it's not like Chime's gonna leave you out in the cold just hoping it comes through soon rather than the reality of taking weeks and weeks. With my pay, you can get your money within 24 hours. So, if you need some help this Christmas season, or you wanna know how Chime can help you with your finances in other ways, head on down to the description and click the link or scan the QR code on screen. Start using Chime today. And if you do, you could receive
Hopefully
up to
this video will be
$350
so
as a
long.
little holiday bonus from them, which again is probably going to help with all of those gifts. So thanks
I
again to
will
Chime for
upload
sponsoring
this
video, and
next
sorry
video
we weren't able
will
to tell
be
you about
a
it sooner,
week.
Edwin. Maybe this would have been the thing to say.
Ha,
But
joking,
if you
joking,
see a better version
joking.
of Fredbear, like
I
was
know
saying,
you
this
guys
new version of
love
Fredbear
or
wasn't
hate
susceptible to
my
water damage.
contact,
And
my
this
contact.
one has that classic piston
I
shape.
hope
It
you
seems
guys
like
enjoy
despite
my
the
videos
project
and your
being
day
finished,
is
and this
great.
one just being a prototype, Fazbear still wanted more versions of Fredbear in their diner, and so brought this version to fill in that slot, which is why we see multiple versions throughout the minigame. I mean, Edwin does say that these new designs have, quote, odd behaviors, like, say, not stopping its mouth movement when there's something clearly caught inside. It also means that both Stan, who left the company to start his own business, and Henry, who bought all of MCM's designs, were all copying and working off of Edwin's original designs. It can all be traced back to him again. And so, if we ever see any animatronics in the future with this design, while they might not physically be made by Edwin, we should take a look because it's clearly copying his original designs and we can likely trace it back to him in some way. However, this also raises a, let's call it, disturbing truth. If this Fredbear we see in the diner is actually the prototype from down in the basement of MCM, then that would mean it wasn't Henry's design that got David Afton killed, it was Edwin's, which then changes a lot of Afton's motivations. We've commonly looked at this moment as the reason William is sent on a killing spree, starting with Charlie. It's revenge on the man who made the machine that killed his son. But now, if it's Edwin's machine, it throws into question why Afton killed Charlie, leading more into the idea that he never really cared about his kids and was more interested in just experimenting and, well, murder. But speaking of David Afton, theory number 2, David Afton is possessed. I recently did a trash episode where I explored the theory God David by T-Trace. That theory basically focuses on the idea that David Murray, David Afton...
This is the last video, guys. I love everyone. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace. Peace.